Hello and welcome to CVR News Network. You're watching CVR English and welcome to World 360 with me, Sandeep. Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla of the Indian Air Force has safely returned to Earth after completing the landmark Axiom 4 mission, becoming the first Indian to visit the International Space Station ISS. The SpaceX Dragon capsule Grace, carrying Shukla and 3 international crewmates, Peggy Winston, USA, Slavos Uznaski, Vicinius, Poland, and Tibor Kapu from Hungary, splashed down in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of California at 3:01 p.m. Indian Standard Time on July 15th. During their 18-day stay aboard the ISS, the crew conducted over 60 scientific experiments, many of which marked India's debut in private space research. These included studies on Indian crop seeds, cyanobacteria, and muscle atrophy, with findings expected to benefit both space exploration and the terrestrial health and agriculture. The capsule endured a fiery re-entry with temperatures reaching 1600 degrees centigrade and deployed a 2-stage parachute system to ensure a safe descent. Shukla's mission, backed by ISRO and India's defense sector, represents a major milestone in India's space ambitions and strengthens its collaboration with private space firms like Axiom Space and SpaceX. Following splashdown, recovery teams swiftly assisted the astronauts, who are now undergoing a 15-day re-acclimatization protocol to adjust back to Earth's gravity.
And helps keep the crew safe. But we do recover those main parachutes, keep them out of the water.
Exactly. And as we just discussed, each of these fast boats has a very specific role that they play. That is all part of, again, the operations the ground operations that support the retrieval and recovery of the spacecraft, as well as the X4 crew. So all of these are part of the ground training that's required in order to pull off those operations safely and successfully. So even though we're having, splashdown at night, right, we're able to ensure that we're executing smoothly, but executing successfully. We're now looking at some additional views that we're getting in of the fast boats making their contact with the Dragon spacecraft.
And we should be seeing a crew member actually climb on board the spacecraft,
Yep.
do some final safety checks, and then help begin setting up the rigging for the spacecraft to be lifted out of the water.
That's right. It's all part of a coordination, a choreography of events, right?
Rigging the spacecraft after it's splashed down and helps keep the crew safe. But we do recover those main parachutes, keep them out of the water.
Exactly. And as we just discussed, each of these fast boats has a very specific role that they play.
Syrian government troops entered the majority Druze city of Syria following the 2 days of intense intercommunal violence between the Druze fighters and Bedouin tribes that left nearly 100 people dead. Religious leaders from the Druze community reportedly approved the deployment of Damascus forces, who imposed a curfew and called on the local factions to surrender their weapons. As troops took control of the key areas, reports described celebratory gunfire by government forces, even as the city remained tense and scarred by recent clashes. The violence was triggered by a series of kidnappings, including the abduction of the Druze vegetable vendor, which escalated into retaliatory attacks and widespread fighting. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte announced a sweeping new arms deal between the United States and the NATO allies aimed at significantly bolstering Ukraine's defense capabilities. Speaking at the White House, Rutte said the agreement would deliver really massive numbers of military equipment to Ukraine, including air defense systems, missiles, and ammunition. The deal, funded by European nations and coordinated through NATO, marks a major escalation in support of Kyiv amid its ongoing war with Russia.
On its stockpiles necessary to defend this country. That's absolutely clear. But it will mean that Ukraine can get its hands on really massive numbers of military equipment, both for air defense, but also missiles, ammunition.
Iran's top military commander, newly appointed Army Chief Mossavi, praised the country's aerospace forces for their pivotal role in recent military operations. During a visit to the facilities of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps (IRGC) Aerospace Force, Mossavi lauded the successful missile counter-strikes against Israel during the latest conflict. His remarks, reported by Press TV, highlighted the advanced capabilities and strategic importance of Iran's missile program, as well as the ongoing efforts to strengthen national defense. US President Donald Trump is set to make an unprecedented second state visit to the United Kingdom from September 17th to 19th, where he will be hosted by King Charles III and Queen Camilla at the Windsor Castle. This marks the first time a US president has been invited for a second state visit, breaking with tradition where second-term presidents typically receive only informal meetings. The invitation was personally delivered by UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer during a February meeting at the White House. Taiwan is conducting its largest annual military training initiative, the Han Kong exercises. They are being held at the same time as civilian defense drills from 9 to 18th July. Late at night, the Army conducts drills to transport troops and supplies using the Taipei Underground System (MRT), while anti-landing live fire exercises in the Penghu and Matsu regions simulate a sudden Chinese island seizing operation launched from the sea. Chelsea Football Club supporters erupted in joy at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, after their team clinched the FIFA Club World Cup 2025 title with a commanding 3-0 victory over Paris Saint-Germain. The atmosphere was electric, with fans from around the globe waving flags, singing chants, and capturing the moment on their phones. Cole Palmer's dazzling performance, including 2 goals and an assist, had fans chanting his name throughout the stadium. The crowd of over 81,000 included notable attendees like President Donald Trump, adding to the spectacle. Chelsea fans described the experience as unforgettable, praising the team's energy and tactical brilliance. Many called it a perfect rehearsal for the next year's FIFA World Cup, which will also feature MetLife Stadium as a key venue.
Yeah, man. Up Chelsea! Up to Chelsea! Hey, 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 hey! Chelsea, so good! Yeah, man. Up Chelsea! Up to Chelsea! Hey, 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 hey! Chelsea, so good! Yeah, man. Up Chelsea!
Nissan has announced plans to close its iconic Opama factory in Kanagawa Prefecture by the end of 2027 fiscal year, March 2028, as a part of a sweeping cost-cutting and reconstructuring strategy. The automaker will transfer all vehicle production from Opama to its Kyushu plant in Fukuoka Prefecture, consolidating operations to improve efficiency and profitability. The Opama facility, which began operations in 1961 and famously produced the Nissan Leaf, has sent its utilization rate dropped to just 40%, well below the break-even threshold. The closure is expected to impact thousands of jobs and forms part of Nissan's broader plan to reduce its global production capacity from 3.5 million to 2.5 million units and shrink its number of plants from 17 to 10. CEO Ivan Espinoza called the move a tough but necessary decision to build a more resilient business model.
Today, Nissan announced that it plans to transfer and integrate vehicle production at the Opama plant in Yokosuka City, Kanagawa Prefecture, into Nissan Motor Kyushu in Fukuoka Prefecture. This is part of the global restructuring initiative under the Re-Nissan plan to optimize production worldwide. Finally, let me reiterate that today's announcement marks a restructure that comes with significant pain. However, I firmly believe that carrying through with these actions is essential to overcome the current difficult situation and returning to a... Today, Nissan announced that it plans to transfer and integrate vehicle production at the Opama plant in Yokosuka City, Kanagawa Prefecture, into Nissan Motor Kyushu in Fukuoka Prefecture. This is part of the global restructuring initiative under the Re-Nissan plan to optimize production worldwide. Finally, let me reiterate that today's announcement marks a restructure that comes with significant...
Indonesian rescue teams are searching for 11 people, including 3 children, who went missing after a speedboat capsized during a sudden storm on Monday near the Mentawai Islands in the West Sumatra. The vessel, carrying 18 passengers, mostly local government officials, was en route from Sikakep to Taupejat when it was struck by high waves in the Sipora Strait. 7 individuals, including the 2 crew members, were rescued and are in stable condition after drifting for hours in rough waters. Search operations involving rescue ships, inflatable boats and local fishermen continued overnight despite challenging weather. Authorities are investigating the cause of the accident and have urged caution amid ongoing extreme weather conditions. High-level talks held Tuesday in Beijing, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and Chinese President Xi Jinping reaffirmed their commitment to deepening economic cooperation, even as regional security and human rights differences persist. Xi emphasized the importance of seeking common ground while setting aside differences, calling it essential to the fundamental interests of both nations. Albanese echoed this sentiment, noting that such an approach has yielded very positive benefits for both countries. Australia, heavily reliant on exports to China, especially iron ore, is navigating a delicate balance between its economic ties with Beijing and its strategic alliance with the United States. Albany's visit, part of week-long trip, also included discussions on tourism, carbon emissions, and diversifying trade with Southeast Asian nations.
过去3年我同志有3次的会晤，就事关中澳关系发展的战略性、前提性、方向性，比较深入，也达成许多共识。在双方共同努力下呢，中澳关系走出低谷，实现转换，给两国人民带来实实在在的舒适。这给我们的最大的启示就是坚持平等相待、求同存异、互利合作，符合中澳两国人民的根本利益。无论国际风云如何变化，我们都应该坚持。过去3年我同志有3次的会晤，就事关中澳关系发展的战略性、前提性、方向性，比较深入，也达成许多共识。在双方共同努力下呢，中澳关系走出低谷，实现转换，给两国人民带来实实在在的舒适。这给我们的最大的启示就是坚持平等相待、求同存异、互利合作，符合中澳两国人民的根本利益。无论国际风云如何变化，我们都应该坚持。过去3年我同志有3次的会晤。
And that's the end of the bulletin. Keep watching CVR News English.